Potentially the most overlooked part of any home office setup is the chair you sit in. We all love to spend time and money making our desk setup look really pretty, but if it's bad for our health, then is it really worth it? So as someone who literally sits in front of a computer for most of the day for a living, I recently upgraded from a terrible non-ergonomic office chair to the ErgoTune Supreme V3. So today I'm going to give you my in-depth review of this chair to help you decide whether or not this chair is for you. And just as a full disclosure, I was sent this chair for free, but I'm not being paid by ErgoTune for this review, so these are my honest thoughts. So in order to review this chair, I'm going to go through a few main areas. The first is the aesthetics of the chair. Then we'll go through all the different features of the ErgoTune. I'll talk a bit about the setup experience. And then finally, we'll go through my overall personal experience and then whether or not I recommend buying this chair for yourself. So first of all, let's talk a bit about the aesthetics of this chair, and I got the black version. There's also a coral red and an aqua blue version of the chair, which I think look great. And you can get these colors across 3 different sizes. There's a small, medium, and a large, depending on your size and height. And I think it looks great. I think it looks classy. It looks like it's inspired by the design of chairs that are a lot more expensive than the ErgoTune. This is a full mesh chair, and I think the mesh looks really nice and clean. And I think it definitely has an overall really professional style as opposed to kind of more like a racing seat gaming chair. So let's get straight into the features of this chair, and we'll start off with the actual seat itself. And to be honest, I actually wasn't sure how I'd feel about sitting in a mesh chair because my previous office chair was a fabric cushion seat, whereas this ErgoTune is full mesh. But so far, honestly, I really am enjoying it a lot. I was a bit concerned that maybe it wouldn't be as comfortable because it doesn't have the padding like my old chair, but honestly I think the mesh is a really good firmness. It molds to you as you sit in it, and I'm really liking it. Of course, you can adjust the overall height up and down, but then you can also move the seat itself backwards and forwards, which I think is awesome, which is the first of heaps of different adjustments you can make to the ErgoTune to really fine tune it to your body. Next, moving up a bit, we've got the lumbar support. Now in my old office chair, I tended to slouch really badly. I had terrible posture in that chair, and I think looking back now I realize it's probably because it didn't have any lumbar support, whereas this ErgoTune has a pretty prominent lumbar support backrest that does feel quite firm, and it actually incentivizes me to sit up straight, which is actually one of my favorite things about this chair. Again, moving from a non-ergonomic chair to an ergonomic chair, I never really thought that much about ergonomics, and it kind of is making me really think about how terrible my posture has been for the last couple of years, because in some ways if you slouch in this ErgoTune, it's actually kind of more uncomfortable, whereas if you sit up straight and sit with a proper posture, it's more comfortable. Having the lumbar support there kind of is just a constant reminder, hey, you need to sit up straight. It's also got 3 tension settings in the lumbar support. I've found that for me, it's best on the middle tension level, but again, you can really fine tune it depending on your body and have the lumbar support move a little bit further back or stick a bit further out. So next, let's talk a bit about the armrests. Now these are super adjustable armrests. You can move them up and down, and then you can move the actual armrests pretty much anywhere you want, which I think is really cool. This is another one of my favorite features about this chair because I actually do genuinely find myself adjusting the positions of the armrests throughout the day, depending on what I'm working on or what I'm doing. And the good thing is that I find that I can easily move them around with my elbows. I don't usually have to use my hands to adjust them. So it's almost become second nature for me now, where I'm just, if I'm working and I move my arm positions and I want to move the armrests, I just naturally move my elbows and get the armrest into a better position. Another thing worth noting is the padding on these chairs. Initially, when I first opened the box, I thought maybe they'd be too stiff because they do feel quite firm, but after resting my elbows on them, honestly, it feels pretty much just right for me. They're not too soft, but they're also not too firm, and they do genuinely feel comfortable after resting your arms on them for like a solid day. Now moving up to the actual backrest itself. When you first install the backrest onto the base of the chair, you've got a couple of different options in terms of where to attach it. There's one for if you're over 180 centimeters in height, and then there's one if you're below 180 centimeters in height. And I think this is really cool as well. Like the fact that even when you first set up the chair, they've thought to design where the backrest will best fit you. So I thought that was a really cool detail worth mentioning about the ErgoTune. Now the backrest is directly attached to the lumbar support, so that's also how you adjust the height of the lumbar support, is moving the backrest up and down down. And I've seen other reviewers online mention how adjusting the height on the backrest is kind of annoying because you have to move it all the way up and then it will reset down to the base. But to be honest, I haven't really found this to be a huge issue because I've only adjusted it a few times just to get it where I want it, and I never adjust it again. It's definitely not a setting that I adjust on a regular basis or have any need to adjust. So I've personally found the adjustment to be really easy. Now, while we're talking about the backrest, I want to mention a couple of my other genuinely favorite features. And the first is that you've got 4 different tension settings for the backrest. So depending how relaxed you want to feel in the chair, you can just quickly turn the knob on the right hand lever, and this will adjust how firm or stiff the backrest will become. On top of that, a feature that I genuinely use every single day is the backrest lock feature. So this is the knob on the left hand lever, and this will lock the backrest upright, or it will unlock it so that you can lean back in the chair. And I found throughout the day when I'm trying to get focus work done, particularly when I'm doing stuff like video editing or script writing, I like having the backrest locked because it keeps me upright in a good position. And then towards the end of the day, I find that I tend to unlock it because I'm becoming a bit more relaxed. I'm wanting to wind down a bit for the day. So I'm a huge fan of this feature. All right, so the last feature I wanted to talk about was the headrest. And the ErgoTune has what they call the Tri-Tune headrest. And the reason it's called that is because it's got 3 different adjustment settings. So you can adjust the height of the headrest, you can adjust how far out the headrest comes, and then you can also tilt the actual headrest up and down to get it just right for where you'd like it positioned. And coming from a chair that didn't have a headrest, it is really nice having a headrest. I do find myself using it throughout the day. Again, particularly towards the end of the day where I'm wanting to relax a bit more. I like leaning back on it and just chilling out. One thing that I did notice, especially in the earlier sort of days when I was using this headrest, was that if I leant too hard on it, it would snap down a little bit into a different position, which was a little bit annoying. But as I've adjusted it and sort of gotten it into a good position for me, I found that it hasn't happened again. So I wonder if it's just a matter of getting used to it and getting it into a good position for yourself. So that's all the features. So let's talk a bit about the actual setup experience of the chair, because it doesn't come fully assembled. You have to assemble it yourself. But to be honest, I actually quite enjoy setting stuff up, enjoy setting up furniture and that kind of thing. So I didn't mind setting this chair up, and overall it was a really good experience. It was all packaged really well in the box, very secure. And I think it probably took me around 30 minutes to set up. And one of the best parts was that it came with really simple instructions right at the top of the box on just one sheet that just explains step by step how to set up the chair. And it even pointed out some really handy tips like using the box that the chair came in order to help you set up the chair. All right, so now that we've talked about all the features, let's talk about my actual personal experience sitting in this chair for the last few weeks. And to be honest, I have found it really hard to come up with any complaints. I think especially because I came from a non-ergonomic chair, this is such a huge upgrade for me. It just feels really good. It's really comfortable. I think it looks great. And like I said, it actually really kind of blows my mind to think about how bad my posture has been in my old chair. And it's really made me think about other elements of my office that aren't ergonomic and are potentially bad for my health. So I really do think investing in an ergonomic chair is worth it, because I've seen all sorts of studies out there talking about how bad it is for your health to be sitting all day, especially in non-ergonomic positions. I think the only real complaint, to be honest, that I could really come up with was the ErgoTune logo on the headrest. I kind of just wish it was a little bit smaller and a little bit more understated, but in terms of the actual functionality of the chair, I genuinely really like it. Another really cool thing I thought was worth mentioning was you get a little welcome pack with the chair that includes 2 booklets. The first booklet gives you a bunch of key calibrations, and it kind of explains to you how to get the most in terms of ergonomics out of the chair. I genuinely found it really helpful. The other booklet that comes in the pack it's like an activity adjustments booklet, and it explains kind of different combinations of settings that you can use for different activities. And again, I found this really helpful to get me started in terms of the different things that I could do and the different adjustments that I can make throughout the day. So finally, should you buy this office chair? And to be honest, I really don't think you'd be disappointed if you pick this up. It's heaps cheaper than some of the really high-end ergonomic office chairs that you can get. And I really like the fact that they've got a 21-day return policy. So if you're not happy within 21 days, you can return it. And it's also got a 12-year warranty. So I do think you can trust the build quality of this chair. It feels really high quality and solid. If you're looking for a more ergonomic office chair and a more ergonomic office setup, then I really don't think you can go wrong with the ErgoTune Supreme version 3. Like I said, I'm not being paid for this review, but if you do want to pick up the ErgoTune and get a discount, be sure to use my link in the description. This will also help support my channel, so I'd really appreciate it. But before you buy the ErgoTune, you're probably also looking at the EverDesk. So be sure to check out my full review of the EverDesk here. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.